Welcome friends, I'm Smita Katti from the blog Smiling Colors, and in today's video, let's paint some watercolor florals together with our dual brush pens. I've pulled out the 10 pack of dual brush pens called Celebration. I love the colors that come in this, and you can see in the back of the pack I've created a watercolor mixing chart already. I love to have this to glance and realize what colors I can create. To paint my watercolor florals today, I'm using Strathmore's mixed media paper. You can use any mixed media watercolor paper, but what is important for today's technique is a blending palette. Along with the blending palette, you'll also need a paintbrush. I'm using a water brush today, but any paintbrush will work. In today's video, I'm showing you the indirect technique of watercoloring. Since dual brush pens are water-based, the ink in them can spread like watercolors very beautifully when you add water to them. So today I'm starting off with 3 colors here, the pinks and reds from the set, and I'm just scribbling some of the colors onto the blending palette. So this method is called an indirect method because the pen marker never touches the paper directly. Instead, we apply the color onto a slick surface like a blending palette, and then we add water to it and pick up the color with our paintbrush. This gives us more control about how much color goes on the paper, but not only that, this is such a versatile technique that you can add the color onto any kind of paper. If you have a thinner mixed media paper, a dot grid journal, this technique works beautifully there as well. This is also an easy way to stretch your supplies. With the same bold red and pink colors, you're able to create softer pastel tones just by adding water. When you add more water, you just create lighter tone of color, and it's such a simple idea and very easy to create. My biggest tip for you so that you have a success with this technique is that you make sure that you control the amount of water you're adding to your paper. If you're using a thicker paper, go ahead and add more water because the water just creates more drama. The beauty of watercolor florals is that the colors are varied. None of the petals look like a solid color. You have this airy, light look to it, which is created by adding water. But if you're having a thinner paper and you add too much water to it, the paper starts to buckle, and you have this one low-lying area where all the water pools and all the color pools, and you create a muddy brown. You really don't want to create a muddy brown color, friends. That is one thing you want to avoid at all times. So what I want to tell you is that you apply light amount of color and water, let it dry, and if you think that the paper can withstand it, go ahead and add another layer of water and color. Painting watercolor florals makes me super happy, but I'm not a professional artist. I just paint for fun. I just paint for adding color to my life. I love filling my sketchbooks with rough sketches of florals, and they don't have to look precise. I just want you to pull out your markers and have fun today. Create shapes that look like florals. They just have to be light and airy and make you smile. I love using the blending palette because you also get to mix colors and create in-between hues that you never had. I'm picking up a darker pinkish red shade and just adding it to certain areas of the floral, like the center where it would naturally be darker. And I'm just touching the color. If you see, nothing precise again. I don't want to add bold lines. I'm just adding soft additions of color. Then I wiped clean my blending palette, and now it's time to add leaves. For any watercolor floral illustration, unless you add leaves, it's going to look incomplete. By simply adding leaves to a floral illustration, you just enhance the look of it and you add so much more detail. I'm creating a whimsical greenish brownish color here by mixing the colors on the blending palette and painting simple leaf shapes. Nothing fancy at all, very basic, and any beginner can do it. For the leaves on the top half, I'm just adding a little bit more of the blue color, and you can see the slight variation in color just by adding small amounts of variations. A little bit of blue here, a little more water there, a little bit of green there. That is all you need to add interest to your illustration. It doesn't have to be very dramatic or very colorful. Just these small touches and small details can enhance its beauty. I'm finishing off the illustration by just adding touches of color in between all of the white spaces. So there's some space between the pink florals, between the leaves, and this is a light watered down shade of the color that I've been using. This just acts like a nice filler or background to our floral illustration. And that's it. My floral illustration is done, and I loved watercoloring with you today, friends. This is a technique that is so easy to create in any kind of paper that you have, and I highly encourage you to try painting it. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you have any other recommendations or technique ideas for me. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Till then, happy crafting!